Hey, Lumineers. It is Monday night. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited you're here if you're here at the start of the show. I see you have a few people waiting around. So thanks so much for joining us. Um, I always say that these weeks go by fast because it feels like, honestly, it feels like I was just on camera last week chatting with a bunch of folks. But I get excited. Mondays are always a drag for me, I'm sure for other people going to work, but as stressful as it is getting these live streams up every Monday night at 7 after work, it's kind of the highlight of the start of my week. Getting to like interact with all of you folks out there and getting to interact with folks who are guests on the show. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So for those of you joining us for the first time, this is our weekly show where we talk about Lorcana news and trivia and interact with some awesome guests. Yeah, if it's your first time here, welcome. And let's get into it. We have some great guests coming on this week. Later on, we're going to talk to Kendall Burdett, who finished 4th in Atlanta. Very, very talented Lorcana player and member of Team Labyrinth. So we'll talk to him about his tournament performance, what he saw in the meta this weekend, kind of his deck, how it performed. Yeah, we might have a surprise guest also coming from Atlanta for a few minutes midway through the show. And we're going to wrap up with some trivia with our Illumiteer Quizmaster. But first, I'm really excited to invite a guest on the show who's been here a few times. I'm going to have to ask Steven if Rebecca is getting close to her 5th appearance pin, because when we make them, we're going to start sending them out to people. So Rebecca's got to be getting close. But with that introduction, let me figure out. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hey.
I don't know. I think I maybe at 3, maybe 4, 3. I think I might be at 3. So I'm working my way. I'm not at Becky level yet.
That's true, but getting close.
I'm getting close.
We can get you there. No, I appreciate you making time. I know you're on Pacific time, so it's a lot earlier there. Probably a lot more conflict. So thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Always a joy to be here.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
This
there's
is Rebecca's
Steven. Steven says 4th appearance.
fourth appearance. So we're getting close. We'll get that pen ready, and we'll have you on one more time. Um, and Scott in the chat saying
Scott.
hi.
Hey.
Another fantastic show. So, as always, throughout the show, if anybody in the chat, whether you're watching on Twitter or Twitch or YouTube, has any questions for the guests, feel free to ask, and we'll get to you throughout the show. We always love interacting with you all. I can't use the phrase live chat. I feel like that's trademarked by This Week in Ink.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Steven. So Rebecca, how was your week in Lorcana?
It was great. I was back at my local Lorcana League on Friday night, which I feel like I've just been traveling a lot lately. And like, I feel like for 5 or 6 weeks in a row, I just kind of was just life was crazy. And so it felt really good to be back at League and playing. And I feel like it was one of the first times that I really felt like settled in with the new set, even though we're like more than a month into set 4. So that was a lot of fun. League night is always fun. And then my son and I have been playing a lot at home. He is so excited about the upcoming set championships. And so he's been working on updating his deck and wants to practice all the time, which is really cool to see. So it's been fun in Lorcana land this last week.
Yeah, I actually have a question I want to ask you about some of your travels recently, but
Yeah.
since you mentioned Caleb and I see Riley in the chat, Riley Hostler, two of my favorite like young upcoming rising star Lorcana players. I think it's worth mentioning we saw a tournament this last weekend,
Yes.
and if I'm tracking correctly, the winner Luca is 15 years old, who won a 10K in Atlanta. How?
It's nuts.
Yeah, I was blown away.
I was so blown away. I had no idea. I just saw his name, floating around Twitter that Luca won, but I didn't recognize the name or anything. And you were the one who actually mentioned, like, oh, he's like a 15-year-old. And I told Caleb. So Caleb is my son who's 14 and has been playing with me since the beginning. And when I told him that a 15-year-old won this big 10K Lorcana tournament, Caleb was like, his eyes lit up and he was just like so inspired, I think, by hearing of another young person doing so well in a really competitive format like that. And it just really, I think, gives him a lot of inspiration and drive to like keep going and keep practicing. And that his dreams of, winning a set championship are not far out of reach, really. So that's really, really cool to have, somebody who's more of his peer see somebody, succeeding at that level. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was blown away. Because there are a lot of very talented players out there, and to see somebody that young, succeed at this level. I mean,
Yeah.
10K is a lot. That's I mean, it's not a semester of college anymore, but I'm sure, but it's close, right? Like that's pretty cool. It's a big deal, and there were a lot of really talented players there. So yeah, what an inspiration.
Yeah, it's huge inspiration. So, and I think that as we go along, I think we're going to see a lot more younger players doing really well, like at the challenge events and other big, events like this going on. I think we're just going to see more and more young players coming up, in the ranks, so to speak. So it'll be cool
Yeah,
to see.
yeah,
Someday, I keep telling Daniel, that someday Lily's going to be out there winning championships.
yes. Yeah, it could be sooner rather than later. Lily's intense.
Yes.
When you watch her play, she laser focused.
Yes.
But gosh, so you talked about how you've been traveling a lot recently. I know
Mhm.
you went to Ireland. You did Lorcana
I
things in
did.
Ireland just
I
for fun.
did, just for
And
fun.
yeah,
Yeah. I
how
stopped
was
by the Disney store because I was there, so
and Lorcana was there in the Disney store in Ireland?
Lorcana was there. Yeah, it was crazy, and I've seen other people post pictures of Disney Store, like, in London, and the shelves were just full, and I've never seen shelves stacked, like, with Lorcana product so much as I saw there in Dublin, but I snagged some play mats, I snagged yeah, all the things, so that was really cool. I was in Ireland, actually, when Ursula's Return, um yeah, all the next generation when Ursula's Return released. So I was able to snag some things there in Dublin. So that was cool. The luck of the Irish was not with me on my pulls,
Oh
though. I didn't
dear.
get anything good.
I imagine that the Irish packs would be stacked with emerald cards,
Right,
but
right.
no dice.
No
That's
dice.
unfortunate. I mean, Diablo would have been the perfect like lucky
That would have been
green card to bring back.
perfect. Absolutely.
Um, but then from there, you came back and you got to do something really cool. So you got to commentate your second tournament. And what I love about your experience commentating both Lorcana challenges is you got to go from doing it remotely and being like experiencing it through the camera to then being there in
Mhm.
person. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what was that experience like? And um, was challenge what you thought it would be when you experienced it after seeing it through the camera?
What's interesting is so you did the exact opposite of what I did. So
Hmm.
you did in person Atlanta and then remote for Chicago, and I did that exact opposite. So being on the remote casting team, we didn't really see much of what was going on there at all. Because we're just on doing the commentating and not really getting to have eyes and ears on like what's going on, like what the actual like experience is like. And I saw pictures and some videos online, but when I went to Chicago, it was like not what I was expecting in the best way possible. It was like so much better than what I expected. Awesome vibes, and it was just cool to like be in the same place as everyone and feeling like the energy of all the players there, and it definitely added to the experience being part of the casting team to kind of bring that energy and vibes with me, into the booth for the games and everything. So it was fun having both experience. But yeah, very different, very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one did you like more being
Wh-
there in person?
oh, which did I like more? I mean, it's hard. There's actually ups and downs to both.
There's pros and cons.
When you're here doing it remotely, like you have a lot better ability to like take care of yourself and constantly drink water and eat the foods you want to
Mhm.
eat. And when you're done, you don't have to spend like 45 minutes getting back to your hotel room. You can just walk 10 feet and pass out. So like from an endurance perspective, it's a lot easier being remote. I feel like you don't have to deal with all the challenges you do in person. On the other hand, what you said about the energy is like absolutely true. I feel like, you can't replicate being in the room with the players and then between rounds getting to meet people and see, Ryan Miller across the room, like signing cards, like that gives you a level of excitement and a level of energy. And the other thing is, I do feel like commentating these challenges, part of our job is to describe the match for people, to tell a story throughout the match, and to really, provide some color to what's going on. The other part, but it's more for the insight team or the on-site team, is to bring the Lorcana fans who are watching to the event, to explain to them what's going on and to make them a part of it. And we can't do that when we're not there.
When you're not there. Yeah.
Right. And I enjoy that aspect of it. So that's the other kind of downside to being remote. But I enjoy both just for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, same. There are pros and cons to each. But like you said, yeah, being able to bring the people who are watching who aren't there at the event into the experience with you is something that you can't quite do when you're yourself not there. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven asks, is it harder to wait, that's the wrong question. Teachers wide. But good comment. Which was harder, doing it the first time or doing it the first time in person?
Oh, the first time for me, yeah, just because it was something that I had not done before. So definitely, even though it was remote, doing it in Atlanta was definitely harder there.
Yeah.
Hi,
Wow.
Aaron.
Hi, Rebecca.
A wild Aaron appears.
A wild Aaron appears.
Yeah. So, again, if you haven't been here before, for anybody watching, both our simultaneous participation on the stream is contingent upon how quickly we can get our daughter into bed on Monday nights. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes it takes a while.
And we just cross our fingers that she actually stays asleep. So
yeah,
we have like a TV monitor like right below the computer.
It's a family show.
Is she? Y'all. What is she? 9 months now? How?
She turns 10 months next week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, it's which also I always think about. So she was born the day after box store release. So like Lorcana's 10 months old.
There you go. Oh yeah, you can also always tell how old Lorcana is.
Yes.
By Elena's age.
And our daughter are the same age.
Yes.
So.
Oh, hi, Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
They all said hi to you, Caleb.
A wild Caleb appears.
A wild Caleb.
Speaking of amazing young players. Oh dear. Yeah. That's so fun. Yeah. So I don't know. I enjoy doing both. I hope we get to keep doing them.
Wait, I also have a question. Steven, how many episodes has Elena been in?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, good question. Yes. Does she?
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
No. It's fine. We're talking about casting. But no, I mean, both are a great experience. I hope. I consider everyone like a privilege to do. I know there are far more experienced casters out there, who bring a lot to the table. So I consider it, it's exciting to do each one. And I just hope I get to keep doing them. But yeah.
100%.
Like just seeing Liam do it virtually, like that was, I mean, that was a marathon for y'all. Like it's crazy. I don't know what your like room is like that you are normally in, but he's like, we're sandwiched in this tiny little like guest room. Airflow's not great, and it's just
yeah, it is like a marathon though. That is a good way of describing it for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that's a lot of fun. We could talk more about that. I do want to get to another quick bit. We had a bit more Lorcana news today.
Yes.
So today is what is it? The 30th?
30th anniversary of The Lion King.
Crazy.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I remember it being on Twitters. But yeah, 30th anniversary of The Lion King, and the Ravensburger team graced us with some amazing art. Let's take a look. Here we go.
So cool.
Yeah, so this is great. Let me go full screen here. So spotlight this. So this is what we saw on socials today from the Ravensburger team.
Do we know who the artist is yet?
We do not.
We do.
You do?
Like,
who is it?
Yes, let me find it because you talk about it. I'll find it.
Okay.
So did the artist post?
Yeah, he was like, "That's my art." Yeah.
Awesome. My guess, for some reason, was Louise, but
it does look like Louise.
But it sounds like that's not
Corey Godby.
Oh,
Oh,
Corey Gobby.
okay.
Okay. Corey, Corey's been around since set one, I believe. Yeah, great. Established Lorcana arts. Beautiful art. I mean, the fact that we're seeing it widescreen like this, it could mean they had Corey expand it, or that it's destined for a playmat, perhaps, because it is a beautiful
yeah.
playmat.
Wait, so do we think like what sort of I was at work all day. So do we see what card
No, just
so
the
what
art.
do we think that
We
this is
just got the art.
so do
Yeah.
we think that this is I'm assuming Mufasa.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Based on the
Mufasa.
John line. Do we think that this is like an action song or do we think that this is actually Mufasa?
I'm going with some kind of action song thing.
I
Yeah.
am too. But I don't know which one.
Hey,
Do we want to see the
do we
card?
want to see the card?
I mean,
we're not gonna
It is the 30th anniversary of The Lion King.
Michelle, show us the card.
No one's gonna say no to seeing the card. But it's I mean,
yes.
of course, whether it's tomorrow or later or today,
I think Steven sums it up perfectly.
I mean,
Yeah.
of course. It kind of preempts the next slide. I will say we did ask, the sheer audacity. Okay. Gotta chill. But beautiful card. I mean, my guess. So we're going to see the card eventually, whether it's sooner or later.
Sooner or later.
So what do we think it is? You were guessing, Rebecca. It is a
either like an action or a song.
I feel like it is too.
I would go lean more towards action just because there's not a song I think that would fit for like Mufasa so much.
Yeah, like Mufasa, like definitely feels kind of afterlife-y.
Yes.
Also,
Also, on the Instagram post, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, you see a little bit more of the art where this like Mufasa reflection is actually coming out of like a pool of water, which is what the movie moment is, right? Where Simba goes down to look at the water and he sees Mufasa's reflection, but then it's himself,
Yeah. And then doesn't he like splash it?
And yeah.
So.
Rafiki's there.
Okay.
Oh, wait, we have to get the wrong answers only before we see the right answer.
Yeah. No. Well,
so wrong answers only before we get the right answers because hold on.
Okay.
I did ask on Twitter what people thought this would be, and these are my favorite answers.
Expecto Mufasa.
I love that.
Really couldn't wait to be king. I like that.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
So those are good ones. I think who turned down the thermostat is probably my favorite.
You know what would be super handy right now? Is that
What?
mouse I bought you?
No. Don't. All right. So
Liam's like over here with the trackpad, like
trying
to get it out to the
trying to get.
I'm just like, I bought you a mouse and it is not being utilized.
So who wants to see the actual card? All right.
I will raise my hand.
Okay.
Yes.
Caleb's in the background. He's raising his hand.
He's raising his hand too. Yes.
Tag your friends, folks. Oh gosh, this is exciting. This is super exciting. Okay.
Just show me the cards, Liam.
Okay. Ready. All right.
Remember who you are. I knew it would be an action.
If chosen opponent has more cards in their hands, draw cards until you
have the same number. Okay. Emerald.
And also like multiplayer mention here. Chosen opponent.
Yeah. So this and so the fun and the flavor perspective is so cool here, right? Because the other card, you have forgotten me.
Right? Yeah.
And so that line comes in the very same speech as this line, remember who you are, in the same scene. And so you play them back to back in the order that they're spoken in the movie. You have forgotten me, discard 2 cards, and then remember who you are, immediately choosing that opponent after you've made them discard cards.
We're 100% watching Lion King tonight. I don't care what you say. Okay.
Right.
I just need to hear those lines.
or vice versa,
Right.
rather. Remember who you
We
are, and
need
you can discard
James Earl
cards. So,
Jones voice in our
Yeah,
head.
James Earl Jones, like, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
remember who you.
You
Oh,
are.
what a delightful card! So it's also cool too. Is the artist has done the full. We've seen the full pano now,
Mhm.
and so we get to experience more of the art than just what's in the frame. But oh goodness, what a cool piece!
Lorcana about said it does seem like a good combat to discard. So if your opponent,
Yep.
has made you discard all your cards and they're sitting there with a
Mm.
bunch, and then you can play this and say, well, thank you. I'll take all of my cards back.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, this is so cool. Oh my goodness! Thank you to Rochelle for
Thank you,
letting us do this.
Rochelle.
What a
Thanks,
what a
Rochelle.
treat! Um,
That was unexpected and so delightful. This
What a-
just like made my Monday.
That was,
What a
Rochelle
treat.
that was
all day
a great
stuffing envelopes at work. So this
the
just
Lion King birthday present for all of
made my
us.
Monday.
Oh yes. Golly, how cool! Yeah, I mean, it is on. So it's an action. It's not a song. It is uninkable. So it does take up one of those valuable uninkable slots. But
Yeah.
yeah, what a combat to discard though. Or
Cue Jonty and Brandon over there, like trying to upload this into OBS.
Yeah.
The card review.
right. Just beautiful, and in foil, this is gonna look fantastic too.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
With the light, like the flickers on the side. Oh, it's gonna
The
be
foil's going to look awesome.
love how we're just like staring at this.
Well,
card
so
right
it's
now.
even
just
gonna be
beautiful.
good in yeah, we should get our faces up here, I guess.
So everybody
so not so
can-
awkward. But it's even good in like I was watching the tournament this weekend out in Atlanta, and I was watching some of the games in the top 8, and they were very control-y games, especially the Ruby Amethyst games. And at the end of the
Yeah.
game, both players, like Luca and at some points Kendall and that mirror match, had like, I don't know, 15 cards in hand because they were rabbiting and bouncing and frenzing. And
Mhm.
so against control decks, even the discard decks,
Ooh,
well, no, because
yay.
I guess it would go against the discard, but against a lot of these control decks that are drawing a ton of cards, Ruby Sapphire, this is
Sorry,
good.
another piece on the art. Like, it's so interesting the juxtaposition between like the heavy line work of Mufasa and then almost like the realism of like the flower bed around the bottom. That's just really unique and cool. Like,
It's really beautiful.
yeah, it's gorgeous, and I'm excited to play this in a multiplayer. I'm so
Yep.
excited to play this in multiplayer.
How cool. And it's a rare.
Okay.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Rochelle. Yay, Rochelle. As our daughter would say, yay, Rochelle.
This is great, Corey. Oh man, how cool.
Well, it's just downhill from here, everybody.
All right, that's the show, everyone.
That's the show.
Yep.
Moving on.
Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, what a treat. All right. What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the art. We were talking about all of Rebecca's amazing travels.
Yeah. Should we just leave this up for the show?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Travels. Yep. Travels, casting. Speaking of casting though, did we have a friend to talk to?
We do.
We do.
Two?
So we may
Wait.
get him eventually.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to find service at the moment to fly in. So he's on the move. So I'm hearing they're too far out in the woods in Mississippi. So
Know that.
That happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
Rebecca, what are you doing for the fourth?
Fourth, probably going in the pool. We are going in the pool. It's been warm out here. We live in the Sacramento area, and we've been getting a heat wave out here. So
Why did I always think you were in Southern California? Maybe
I
it's 'cause
don't know.
It was probably because we were talking about D23 at one point.
D23.
And
I do
so-
talk about Disneyland a lot.
Yeah, and so maybe I just like assumed you were in Southern California. But
Yeah.
love it. Love it.
Okay, speaking of Disneyland though, my sister just she went to like Goodwill and found a VCR player and got my mom's old VHS home videos, and they found like a whole VHS of us like in the 90s at Disneyland. Like, I need to like pull some of that and like share it.
I've always wanted to do like there's like tons of photos of me when I was at Disneyland when I was a kid. There's what my dad, I think affectionately calls the duck photo, which is
Oh,
me with like
yes.
some mouse ears on, like striding in front of the castle, and my lips are like duck. They're like,
Yep.
they're like that. And so my dad calls it the duck photo. And I've
That's
always
how
meant to do
people
like a
like pose now. That's like a thing.
yeah,
I don't
for
get
sure.
it.
For sure.
It was in style. It was out of style. Yeah. All right. Remembering who I am.
Liam's like, Lorcana.
Back to
Well, it's just so fun.
Lorcana.
You do the math on card reveal. Sorry, just to circle back before we bring in our next guest here shortly. You do the math in these card reveals, and especially when you consider you have articles that come out which reveal 4, 5, 6 cards at a time, and there are various times where you get multiple cards, and sometimes you stumble across them in social media. You only have these moments are rare, like when you get to experience new cards for the first time, and to sit here and appreciate a card and give it its moment. So it's really kind of cool. And for anybody watching here, you will always remember this moment when you see this card and it gets pulled.
True story.
Yeah, this is a memory now. So.
Cheers, Rebecca.
Cheers.
Card memories.
Yes, card memories. I love it. I mean, honestly, all of the cards that have been revealed, especially by content creators that I've been fortunate enough to like build relationships with online, anytime I see the cards that people have revealed like in my deck or that I'm playing against, I'm like, oh, that was revealed by Liam and Aaron, or that was revealed by this person or that person. And so it is kind of cool that you kind of have that like little attachment there with between a card and like somebody that so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think I agree, especially as like the Lorcana content creators, like we have an opportunity to like really kind of like zhuzh up our card reveals. Some of us put on like funny costumes and paint our faces blue, those sorts of things. Like you will forever, that will forever be imprinted in your Lorcana memory. Anytime I see Gumbo Pot, I think about Cam Kendall.
Yeah.
Getting to do his first card reveal.
Yeah. Very similar to this. But it is true, like, and to one last cheesy thing before we move on. Like what we talk about community a lot. We use the phrase community when we talk about Lorcana, and it's true. Like one of the things that makes any TCG special and unique from some other hobbies is that it requires in-person interaction. You have to have opponents to play the game, and so it requires you to interact with people. And then when we have these and then it also, like, as content creators or as Ravensburger doing the challenge events or whatever, they get to create these moments where we get to experience these things with other members of the community. So getting to see this card for the first time with you on the stream, with Steven and Lorcana Librarian and all these folks in the chat who we appreciate, Chappie and Riley and all these folks that we know, like having the shared experience is really
shared
kind
experience.
of
It is.
And so it's a lot different than getting to see a card for the first time, like, I don't know, on a website when you're perusing your phone, so anyway. Okay.
So thanks, Rochelle.
Yeah.
We're so like cheesy over here. Like, I love it though. I love it. I mean, honestly, I was talking to somebody recently, and they were at my league actually, and he was saying that he's brand new to TCGs, period, like any TCG, and that he recently tried out another game, and then he kind of switched to Lorcana because he tried that out too. And one of the big reasons for that was because he was like, the community is so, it just felt, the experience that he had with the community in Lorcana was just so different and very welcoming. I mean, honestly, Disney vibes is a real thing. So there's definitely something special in this community, and I think that's a lot of people are here and keep playing is because not just the game, but because of that social and community shared experience that you're talking about. So we're just gonna keep being cheesy about it.
Yeah. I completely agree. Well, I do. So we probably should, I don't know, maybe we'll leave it up. I'll show. I don't know. But before we consider, taking the card down from the banner here, Maybe we should invite somebody else in and get their opinion on this new card. What do you think, Rebecca?
I think that would be great.
Ooh,
Right.
more of a tactical position
Yeah,
rather than being
exactly.
like, "Ooh, it's pretty."
Yeah, more of a competitive, a high level competitive player opinion on this card. So he's in the green room right now, listening and getting prepared. So for Steven, I think this is a brand new guest to the show. We're super excited to welcome Kendall Burdett to the stream. Hey, Kendall.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, Kendall.
Hey.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hey again, Rebecca.
Hi. I had the pleasure of going out to dinner with Kendall in Chicago. Actually,
Oh,
it
you
was
didn't
great.
just meet him; you went out to dinner. Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who are not familiar, Kendall is a very high level Lorcana player. Just participated and finished in the top 4 at the 10K in Atlanta. A member of Team Labyrinth, and so fantastic person to follow on social media, to follow their career, get tips from, etc. So again, thanks for taking the time to join us, especially after a long weekend for you, Kendall.
Yeah, very long weekend and busy week coming up for me too, but I've said this before in like other podcasts I've been in, so it's always great to get invites, and I like talking about Lorcana. So anything strategic, or I try to get into like the stuff too for card reveals and stuff. So
we
Yeah,
like talking about Lorcana too.
we
Yes.
also like talking about card reveals.
Speaking
so,
of
hey,
which,
this is So the world saw this card for the first time about what 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point.
Have you had a chance to digest this, Kendall? What do you think of this card?
so I was watching while I was waiting, and I was as first off, it's pretty awesome. Y'all just get a card reveal randomly like this. Personal thoughts about the card. It is keeping the tradition with uninkable green cards. That's for
yes,
sure.
it is.
They got plenty of those,
Goodness.
but the effect seems to be pretty powerful, and it seems to, I guess, be uh, since it's not a song, I guess that's kind of like the balancing act that they're doing there, right? So at least they couldn't play this for free. And then, yeah, I like the art a lot too.
Yeah. It is an interesting card. It strikes me, especially being uninkable and not being a song. It strikes me as one of those cards that's going to be like really good or just, or just
Right.
worthless.
Yeah, because it's uninkable, it'll have games when it's kind of just stuck in dead in your hand.
Yeah.
But there will be games when it'll be huge, it'll be just a draw 7, whatever.
So do you see, I mean, I know we have very limited card reveals for Shimmering Skies at this point, but do you see a space for a card like this in the meta going forward?
That I'm not too sure. I'm not so much of like an innovator as far as like new archetypes and stuff. I more like refined deck lists and such like that. Uh, but I like I said, it's the first and like kind of unique effect like this, I believe, in Lorcana. So definitely, I'm always a fan of when like newer things are introduced into the meta, especially like with current meta. An example of that, I guess, like right now is in this new set, the yellow green under the sea Kita deck, like might not be like the best deck right now, but you see like it actually has like results and stuff like that. So it'll continue to just like develop, I guess, as the game gets more cards.
Yeah. I before we minimize it here, and then bring it up at the end of the show, just because. I am excited about the multiplayer application of this. I know we do talk a lot. I know a lot of people are here for the competitive discussion, and a lot of us love a good tournament and competitive play. But I do think Lorcana is going to be successful long term because it's a competitive game, but also if it has a really vibrant casual game or casual, I don't know, formats that people can play. And so I'm really excited to see cards like this or Steal from the Rich or other cards that are just really good in multiplayer games appear, so that it kind of unlocks that format a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess like the keywords being their if chosen opponent. So like in multiplayer games, yes, you can pick any opponent that might have way more cards than the rest of the table. But I do agree what you said about as far as casual aspect of the game, because like despite what people think, like the competitive side of like card games and any card game is very small percentage compared to like what the actual like casual crowd has. So Definitely, it is important for any card game to be successful to have some sort of casual available, and to be like making fun cards like this, for instance, that would be good in like a casual setting. Not
Yeah.
every card has to be strictly tailored for competitive play. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, sorry.
I'm also trying to
Like
think
the-
like, oh,
No, I was just gonna say we should. I mean, he's beautiful, but we should.
Oh, get rid of the card. Okay.
oh, get rid of the card.
All right. All right. All right.
Moving on.
All right. What is
Now,
it?
now we can see. Now we can see Kendall. What he really looks like, not in a little thumbnail.
Little tiny box.
Yeah, multiplayer fun. Isn't the ruby amethyst goat Merlin? That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Merlin is the goat.
Yeah. I did like Merlin Lion was one of my favorite, wrong answers for that card description. So Kendall, you know, one of the reasons we're really excited to talk to you is you just played in I think it was 164 person 10K in Atlanta.
Yep, it was at Charlie's Collectible Show. It's actually in Stone Mountain, Georgia, but it's like just right outside of Atlanta.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I think Charlie's has been, Charlie's, as far as, tournament prize pool, has had the biggest couple tournaments so far. This might be the biggest. So yeah, I was really excited to see, who ended up going out there. And it turned out, it was kind of a who's who of competitive players and really skilled players out there. You being one of them.
Yeah, Georgia has been great for competitive Lorcana. CCS did host like an 8K a few months ago, and at the time that was the largest prize pool in person, I believe. He wanted to go even bigger and go 10K this time, and he does have plans to run more in the future. So, like, it'd be great as far as like to have something outside of just the challenges, because maybe not everybody can go to the challenges and such, just from limited capacity. So, like, having this as well is a good option.
Yes. Yes, it is a Rainbow Dash mug, Lorcana. Sorry. But I totally agree. The more opportunities that people have to play in a competitive setting and test their mettle, because it's not only, do people want an opportunity to win, but that's also how you get better, is by playing some of the best players. So the more tournaments you have that draw, some of the best, so that people can kind of test their mettle and practice and get better. I think it's better for the competitive scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, going back to as far as players wise,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of good players and a lot of the Lorcana faces that you see at challenges and stuff. But Georgia has a strong Lorcana competitive group as well. Like Matt Wright, I know y'all had him on the show a few weeks ago, second in Atlanta. Zan, he's also local to us too. He's top 8 in Atlanta too. And there's a lot of great Atlanta Lorcana players that you probably haven't heard of yet that like you'll eventually hear of them. So it's a good spot to play Lorcana.
So you're from the Atlanta area?
Yeah, I live just outside of Atlanta as well. I live close to like the Braves Stadium. Not that you might not really know where that is, but I'm also a Braves fan too. So
that's perfect.
Nice.
I will say our Uber driver in Atlanta strongly recommended that I go hang out near the Braves Stadium while Liam was casting, and that just didn't happen. But it sounded really cool. There's
So
like a whole like little like restaurant shopping area near there, right?
Around the Braves Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Battery. So it has like bunch of like bars, restaurants, there's shopping. There's actually if you're ever back in Atlanta, if we have like another challenge and stuff like that, I always recommend the Battery is like a cool area to go to for people out of town. There's a really cool spot. It's called Battle and Brew, and it's kind of like a bar, but you also can rent out really nice place. Like you rent out like sofas with like consoles, like to play. It's like to play video games and stuff socially.
That's cool.
So
and I'm
they
sure
also
the
have.
Brave Stadium could fit like a 2,000 person event, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Probably.
Yeah. There's the Cobb Gallery is actually right next to that area as well, and they've hosted large events like that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Kendall, and one of the things I'm really curious about, as far as your experience with the decks that you saw at the tournament this weekend, is how did it compare to what you saw in Chicago? Like, was there a big shift in like the the decks that are really being played by the competitive players, or not too much?
I wouldn't say that there was like a large shift, but I think people had plans going into Chicago. It was like, okay, you're going to play Green Steel or you're going to try to beat Green Steel, and people were like less, and people weren't really trying to play Ruby Amethyst was like the last thing. And at the 10K, I think it was the same thing. There was a lot more Green Steel, I believe, at the 10K, but people did bring Ruby Sapphire and Sapphire Steel to counter it, and it worked a little bit. And then I also think that Ruby Amethyst players have developed a better game plan against like the Green Steel decks. So that's kind of what helped out this weekend more, as far as like you saw Ruby Amethyst actually winning the tournament. There's 3 Green Steels in the top 8. Like that's still, I think that is like the boogeyman of this format right now. So, but there are decks to counteract it, and also that Ruby Amethyst not being favored in that matchup, also finding like a good game plan against them has kind of like helped. But there was a couple like rogue decks that kind of did well. For a while there was like a yellow blue, so
Oh,
amber
really?
sapphire.
Oh,
There was a amber
interesting.
sapphire heroes deck.
Ah.
There was actually a ruby emerald like aggro-ish deck that lost playing for top 8.
Wow.
It was the final feature for the 10K. And then Talman Purple, he also top 4'd the Sunday 2K with a Ruby Amber locations deck. So there's still like some room there, I believe. Like we're still fairly new into this format.
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna look those up.
so cool.
Well, and it is cool. I do think we often get trapped. As seasons go on, and there are competitive tournaments, players do competitive players
Gravitate.
especially. I think oftentimes do what's natural, and they say, I'm a very good player, and so I'm gonna find a deck that's proven, that I know works, and I'm just gonna play it better than anybody else. And they go in with the decks, and so meta is oftentimes you get the same 5, 6, 7 decks. And sometimes, as we saw at the end of the last season in Atlanta, there are these decks out there that are just bonkers good that just haven't been, proven yet, and so they're not out there. So I maintain that Mufasa deck that won Atlanta would have been everywhere in the meta had that season gone any longer.
Yeah, that was a good example as far as very last tournament of that format, a sort of rogue like the purple yellow Mufasa deck just winning the largest tournament to date. So yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Kendall, you sent over this Emerald Sapphire or this Amber Sapphire deck to us. So
Yeah, I was trying to get them really quick.
So like based on your experience, kind of what's going on here? Is there something hidden here that we haven't quite tapped into in the meta?
Say, is there something here we haven't seen before?
So
There you go.
I did not play against this person in this tournament. I will say that like Thursday night, I actually went to a league play. I went to a league night, and I played against a similar list, like same colors and similar concept, probably just some different card choices here. And I played Ruby Amethyst, obviously. I was just trying to get some practice in and, meet some new people and stuff, see if they're going to the tournament. And so, yeah, I played against someone that played a similar list to this. And the first thing I thought was like, well, like I won, but it was 2-1 and the games were really close that I won. And I thought that I was like, wow, this is actually really interesting. I think I actually felt like there was like something there that because I've never seen anyone like talk about something like this. So I did. I had actually like messaged my team. I was like, hey, I just like played against this list. I think this is kind of what it looks like. This is pretty interesting. Like I think there's actually something here. And then it was doing well in the 10K for a little bit as well. So yeah, I think again, like I said, I'm not an innovator, so I would have never like came up with something like this. But I think there's something here to possibly be like refined and actually be some secret tech, for like upcoming Dallas or your store champs.
I think
And
it's really interesting that you talk about those as being like two different skills almost of a player who can innovate and like find new combinations and build new decks versus people who will take something existing and just like refine it. Like that those are kind of two different skills almost.
yeah, some people can do both, and those people are great. I'm more so like obviously I didn't just invent Ruby Amethyst or something like that, but yeah, I'm more so of like a refiner, and then I know people that are like the
Mhm.
innovators of lists as well. So I also sent you the Emerald
Yeah.
was it Emerald Ruby deck as well.
Yeah,
This was
let me
through Twitter because I couldn't
pull it up
just like
here.
send pictures. But
Yeah, give me a second to pull it up. Yeah, it is interesting. So you talking about the skills required, and we've talked about this with God, I can't multitask. I can't talk and do stuff at the same time. But we've talked about this with Zach Bivens quite a bit as he keeps going to tournaments with these crazy new decks. That it doesn't only take intelligence and skill to kind of come up with these decks, but it also takes courage, because as a player in a given set, you only have a certain number of opportunities to play in these big tournaments. You may have 2 or 3 or 4 tournaments. And so to have the courage to take something that you have confidence in and to bring it into a tournament, despite the fact that it's not proven, that takes some courage, right? It's not
Yeah.
just skill to build a deck, but it's also, you have to be a little bold.
yeah, definitely. Bivens is a good example of that. Like for the Atlanta event when he played the Purple Steel, like
Mhm.
low deck, very brave to just register like 4 Jiminy Crickets into like this tournament. And like he ended up performing well. So that's like I personally couldn't do something like that.
It's
So
mean for the casters too.
Where you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, like Jimmy, is that a Jiminy Cricket? Yeah, we're gonna do this way.
yeah, so again, I'm pretty sure that this was the
Wow.
last feature match for the CCS 10K. This person, I grabbed the list, and this was the list like of the person he lost playing for top 8 for the 10K. So um, he lost playing against Ruby Sapphire. So it was almost very possible like you could have seen this list in the top 8 as well.
This looks fun.
Again, and like this is a good example here too, is that like this is a very rogue list and probably the first time that this got played in a big tournament like this. But once this becomes like public knowledge, the hive mind of players and card games, and again like deck refiners, like there's probably stuff here that can definitely be tuned quite a bit, because like the very first thing that sticks out to me is you're playing 2 Mauis, and everyone knows like Maui is a great card. So is that really is that the right thing? Is that the right thing as far as numbers? But everything else it's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, this looks fun. Signed contract.
Super goof. I love seeing super goof.
Yeah, super goof. I like signed contract in there. Super goof. Baby Pegasus.
One
That's fun.
thing that I thought was interesting, especially coming off of the Lorcana challenges, is that on day 2, you went straight to top 8.
Right.
How was that different? Like preparing, go Lorcana challenges, we've gotten used to like we have this like marathon of a day on Saturday, and then we go to top 64. So we basically have another marathon of a day on Sunday. This was such a different vibe, going straight to top 8, having 3 rounds on Sunday, and just kind of being in and out. Like, what was that? What was that like?
Well, and I think better, what's your prep like? Because you have open deck lists, so you know exactly what everybody else in the top 8's playing. So how do you, the evening before the top 8, prep for that day?
Yeah. So I guess because it's a smaller tournament, this tournament was based on attendance. So we ended up hitting the for 8 rounds, the number of people for 8 rounds. The last time the tournament was ran, it was also based on attendance, but we decided it was gonna like do 6 rounds day 1 and however many left, it'd be a cut to day 2. And just based on feedback, I think people preferred, because maybe some people didn't plan to necessarily come the second day. So if they would have made day 2, they had to come back the next day and play 1 or 2 rounds and then head back home kind of thing. So I think people prefer to play like the one big day, and if they made top 8, they know to come the next day, or it gave them they could just immediately join the 2K for the following day.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as prep goes, this was the first time it was actually kind of like open deck list, and I am a fan of having like at least open deck list in top cuts. So it's great for the day 2 of challenges. I think top cuts it's really cool too because I guess it's a whole other topic, but it kind of gives advantages to people on teams or people that have like scouted the prior day to if you knew like what your opponent on. So it kind of makes it fair for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
As far as my prep for day 2 or for the top 8, I did look at my opponent's deck list and I kind of like looked at the bracket as far as who I would potentially be playing. And I kind of just studied my top 8 opponents' deck list and didn't really give much thought into semifinals and finals because I was more comfortable in what I predicted those matchups to be, anyways. So I mostly just looked at the green steel list that I was paired up against, and that was I had like thoughts, like messaged a couple people on like thoughts on like their choices and stuff like that, but I didn't play test games or anything like that. The day was long enough where like I went and got dinner with like some friends and stuff, and then I got home and I tried to just go to sleep early because normally I go to sleep very late. But so I tried to at least like get some reasonable amount of sleep so I wouldn't feel like I threw my tournament away from just lack of sleep. But
Yeah.
There's a really funny quote. I think was it Frank Karsten who said, um, "I've never won more matches in a day than hours of sleep I had the
Mm-hmm.
night before."
it's true.
Ah,
I am notorious for always going to tournaments on like 3 or 4 hours of sleep or something like that. Um, but that's just me. I would not recommend that to anybody. If anyone always asks me for suggestions on how to be prep for tournaments and get better, like for instance, I do Lorcana coaching, and like that is something I tell them, like make sure you get plenty of sleep. Don't do as I say, not as I do,
not
kind of
as I
thing.
do.
Yeah.
That is true. Well, we've kind of teased. Let's take a look at your deck while you're here, because we've shown some other people's, and this is what you ran. Why did you take this in?
Why did I take Ruby Amethyst?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've played Ruby Amethyst since set 1. So just diehard Ruby Amethyst player. I don't think I've played any other deck, registered any other deck in a
Wow.
competitive tournament until Chicago. um,
Wow.
so every single tournament that I've played with and had results has always been Ruby Amethyst. So I just like the archetype in general, how the strategy that it provides. I like, that it's a very solid like deck, and as far as it has no great matchups, but no like weaknesses, is what people have said before. Um, so yeah, So just a backstory real quick. I played Sapphire Steel in Chicago, and that was the first time I played any other deck in a competitive event other than Ruby Amethyst. And I liked the deck. It's just I felt like I was doing a disservice or something like that, just because just married to the archetype at this point. I wanted to have fun again and play more my style. Um, and I really was interested in trying out as far as like new strategy to combat like green steel. Um, because I think that was kind of like some discoveries as far as like play style on how you should play against in the green steel matchup. So I wanted to kind of like test those theories. Um,
I love Ruby Amethyst, and I've been playing it for a long time as well. And it does feel like with this set, it feels very different to me than previous sets. What would you say, like how Ruby Amethyst is shaking out right now with Ursula's return?
Yes, it's definitely, and this is one thing I don't quite like about the deck so much more. If you think back to set 1, Ruby Amethyst was like the control deck. It's no longer like the hard control deck anymore. That would be more Ruby Sapphire. Would be considered probably the bigger control deck now. This is slowly just morphing into an aggro and mid-range style deck, and that's largely just because of the Flynn Rider and Sisu package. Because
Mhm.
all the other cards are pretty much the same. Like the Madame Mim Merlin package is always going to be like a strong engine, and that already takes up so many slots anyways.
Mm,
So the biggest difference between this set's Ruby Amethyst and last set's is the Flynn Rider Sisu. Whereas before it was more playing the 2-drop Cusco and Merlin Crab in those spots. And all this does is gives you stronger aggressive lines to take against what would be the control decks now. And it doesn't let you have as like much value because again, like the Cusco crabs that was there, so that would buff your Cusco, which would trade with their character, and you would replace a card off of the Cusco. So that was giving you more value, and that would be considered more control because those are both one questers. You know, Flynn is not Cusco's not triggering to give you 3 lore every turn, sort of thing. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, this deck is leaning more fast to be faster. You don't have those
mhm.
long Ruby Amethyst games anymore. Thinking back to set one, I played Ruby
Oh
Amethyst
gosh.
Mirrors. Like one game would take an
So
hour,
long.
you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so long.
Back in the days where like doing best of 3, you were barely getting through your second game because
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
was
mhm.
playing Ruby
Yeah, it
Amethyst.
largely did go to the person that would win game one because you could game
Mm,
two could take long enough just to be a one game winner.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's
I
insane.
I will never forget seeing like Ursa's Cauldron on turn 2 and just watching my opponent all game just like cycle their cards. And it was a very different, I mean, very different deck. Okay, this is twice now. Jonathan Santos has said we have to see your Lorcana trophy from set championships.
Yeah, I
Uh,
have it here. I have it on my desk with me.
can
oh,
I'm told we have to see it. Um,
Yeah,
gotta see it.
I mean, it's really cool. So this is all going back to, I guess, as far as I know y'all mentioned how Lorcana is just different than other card games as far as like
Mhm.
community goes. So, but yeah, I'll show it. So I don't know if you can see it that good.
Oh, yes.
oh, look at that.
So it's like the Stitch
Stitch.
Rockstar,
It's
and
Guitar.
it has the ink colors on the front. Not sure if you can quite see it, but it says like Lorcana, this into the Inklands, and then it says 5 times set championship. No, I'm not. And then each thing right here is each store that I had won and the dates. And this was not given to me from, so some stores for their set championships were handing out these like cool 3D printed trophies.
Mhm.
And I had kind of made a comment like, wow, that's really cool. Like I didn't get one of those. I'd love one of those, you know? And then
Mhm.
one of my students and friends uh, had one made for me. And it was like a pretty cool surprise. Like I wasn't expecting it at all.
That's
But
amazing.
that's just something cool that like the community is definitely doing now. I've been wearing these, you know, you see these like little bead bracelets. See,
Bead
so
bracelets.
yeah, this one was made by Kara, and it's Be Prepared bracelet. So
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, it's so funny. Like stickers became a thing, you know, initially with Lorcana, and then all of a sudden, like a few folks started making bracelets. And now these are such a thing that
Mhm.
yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, I'm excited to get some more. I've
Don't
seen
touch
some that have been
any.
made,
I
and
need
I
to
think
get
I have
some.
some.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. I'm not in the cool kids club.
Oh, you're in the club.
Oh,
Like we
you
just, we just
100%
yeah,
in the
you
club.
are the cool kids
I need
club.
the bracelet club. The bracelet club. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I'm sure there's some people
I know
around who
some
can help you
people.
out. Yeah. I know you know. You know.
you're like sitting there like, mm, mm,
Yeah, speaking of which,
Yes.
mm.
RMB saying super sick Lorcana bracelet package from Lorcana Bell. No, that trophy is like that's super cool. I don't know.
There's also a hidden Mickey on the back.
Wait, what?
Oh wait, what? Oh,
Oh,
It's
cool.
propped up
it
by
is
a Mickey Mouse head.
hidden.
I love it.
I love that. What a neat memory.
Yeah, it was set championships for Into the Inklands was really great for me. It was a fun experience. I'm looking like we have it in like 2 weeks now. I think it's
Mhm.
the first
Yeah.
one coming up, so it'll be another fun month. I'm kind of sad that Dallas is going to be the same month, so like I'll miss a weekend of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
um,
Well,
Our-
and it is really cool too that set championships have a month to like occur versus In April, it was 2
Mhm.
weeks. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like
they
10-day period
which is
in
you
April.
winning 5 in 2 weeks
Yeah.
is just like marathon.
yes, it was a very long 2 weeks. I played in 7 of them.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
a lot.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a bit.
How many are
Yeah.
you signed up for Ursula's Return Set Championships?
Um,
Or planning to
I'm
go to?
currently only registered for one. Um,
Mm.
I think our stores are kind of like starting to just now announce them.
Mhm.
I know if the first weekend I'm planning on going to two, like it's the one I'm registered for, and the Saturday one is actually at Charlie's, I believe, or that might be the following weekend. But
Oh.
I would like to play in one each day,
Mm.
other than Dallas, because like I said, I'll be in Dallas. So
Will
Yeah.
you be in Dallas with your Ruby Amethyst? Not going back to Sapphire
Mm,
Steel?
I don't think I would play Sapphire Steel in Dallas. Yeah, it would be Ruby Amethyst, or we'll see.
Amber Sapphire, you know.
Amber Sapphire. Yeah, I take one of the
Yeah.
road decks. Emerald
Road
Ruby.
deck.
Um, yeah. I do want to. We have a couple of things to get to before we go, and we don't want to keep everybody too long. But we want to ask you, Kendall, a little bit about Luca and Luca's build, because you got to not. So we hate asking about losses. Like, I feel like it's rude, but at the same time, it was very cool seeing such a young competitor play in this tournament and win. So this is Luca's list. I think you played Luca in the semifinals, correct?
Yes, in the semifinals, top four,
And,
whatever you call it.
and how were those games, and how what do you think of his list? Yeah.
Yeah, so I known Luca prior to this tournament. He did come up to the 8K, the last 8K that we had. We both, I believe, I won the 2K, the Sunday 2K at that 8K, and Luca was in top four of that one. And we've also played each other before in Star City Games Atlanta. When they came to Atlanta, we played each other there. So I've known Luca, and Luca is a really good player, and for being really young. So again, he's probably one of those names. Like if people didn't know him, like expect to see him. Um, I think he got to let it go in Atlanta, so he didn't quite make day two, but um, I wouldn't be shocked like once he finally gets an invite to the Continentals, from just doing well at one of the challenges. But as far as list goes, the list is very similar to mine, and that's just because I think like myself, Luca, and George. He's also another Ruby Amethyst player. He was in the finals of the 2K on Sunday. All kind of like had been messaging each other. This is the list that top 16 in Chicago. George actually
Okay.
top 16 in Chicago with it. The numbers look very similar, other than two Tremaines and a fourth Maleficent. So my list plays the three brooms. Um, and so as far as differences in the list, the only thing is he's up to 16 uninkables, and the two Tremaines provide a little better late game, for one, mirror matches, and two, against like Ruby Sapphire. And that's just with the inclusion of two Tremaines. Very similar list and play style. The only difference here is that you're going from 14 to 16 uninkables. Um, and 16 is a little high for Ruby Amethyst, so that's just a risk. This changes a little bit of your mulligan strategy, because you always run the risk of mulliganing into more uninkables.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, very solid list. I would probably recommend it. I think the first thing that people see is like the 4/1 drops. And that is a notable difference in how Ruby Amethyst is played in the past. I don't think it's so much important anymore to have a bunch of 1 drops, because before, Ruby Amethyst wanted to always play a 1 drop and played the Madam M Snake on 2 was like its big line. Now that you have the Flynn Rider Sisu package, you more so don't care about playing a 1 drop on 1, because more often than not you'll play Flynn Rider on 2. So
Interesting.
yeah, again, Luca, great player. He was my only loss in the Swiss in day one as well. So I did lose to him twice. But I'll
People
I'll
keep
get him back.
talking. People keep talking in chat about how fast of a player he was. Was he? I didn't watch any of the coverage. Was he a fast player?
Yeah, I felt like we both played kind of fast, but maybe people were saying I played slow. But yeah, he plays
No,
fast.
Your games went
so-
so quickly.
So let me say, like, we have to throw out 20 Lore Pro, who was casting the event. Fantastic group of folks. Sent us a note and said, hey, if you all want to commentate for some practice for the challenges over our stream, you can. And we took them up on that. So we watched, in real time and commentated your and Luca's game. And holy cow, both of you.
It was. I think Liam needs like a side gig in auctioneering because it was hilarious. Like I was sitting here and I was like, slow down. People don't understand what you're saying because he was like,
Yep.
He's like it was like calling like a horse race or something.
It was,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So you both played very fast. I think the people are commenting on Luca so much is because we got to see him like twice in a row. We got the semifinals and the finals, and so people got to experience that more. But
oh my gosh,
holy
yeah.
cow,
It
yeah.
was.
You both play very fast.
Yeah, that's just showing like because Luca has also been a Ruby Amethyst player for I'm pretty sure for the most part he only plays Ruby Amethyst. So when people are comfortable in those archetypes, like they're
Yeah.
you know the strategy that you need to do going into the game. So and by now it's just become muscle memory and stuff
Yeah.
like that that you're able to play pretty quickly and feel comfortable in that. So yeah, I think it just comes with just being familiar with the deck and the archetype, and definitely don't feel like you have to play that fast if you're just starting out with the deck and stuff. As long as you're finishing your games in enough time, then you don't need to play that fast. But
Yeah.
I think as somebody who is more on the casual side of play, it can be intimidating sometimes, like at League, when you're playing against people who do play super, super fast. But to just know, like, it's okay to take your time, because if you don't know the deck like your back of your hand, you'll make bad plays if you are moving too fast, whereas someone like you know what you're doing. So
no,
yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't feel necessarily that I need to rush my opponent. Like I'll play fast
Yeah.
so that you can take your time.
Yeah,
um,
and I've never felt rushed, and I don't think people are intending to make people feel that way, but it is like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're going fast. I have to go fast too to
It's
keep
not
up."
your opponent sitting there going like, you need to hurry up. But
No,
it's
yeah.
how quickly your mind works. You're like, oh gosh, okay, like it's my turn
Yeah.
again. Like I wasn't able to like reset.
Process.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that the more you become familiar with the deck and your cards, that you do play faster, like from the first time you pick up a deck and play with it, that if you play with that same deck more and more and become comfortable. And even I remember last time with the set championships, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I heard over and over again was pick a deck that you're familiar and comfortable with. That's like going to be like one of the best things you can do to set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
Just the familiarity with the cards.
Yeah, I think Frank Karsten, everybody we talked to, like who's won, Lorcana Challenger, said the same thing. Like better to take the deck that you can play well than like the top
hot
meta deck
new, the
and
hot
play
new
it
meta deck.
okay. I do want to ask, Kendall, we are going to move. I'm a little bit of a surprise here because I didn't ask if this was okay with you. We're going to do a little bit of trivia with the four of us in a minute. But before we do that, I do want to ask, for those in the chat who are maybe, who are competitive players and aspiring to win one of these big tournaments, or perhaps are going to take their first leap soon into a competitive event, what advice would you give somebody who's looking to up their game or participate in one of these competitive events for the first time?
The first bit of advice is, I would say, yeah, don't be scared to do it. Some people might be intimidated, I think, to go to a large event. And they'd be like scared or intimidated. Don't expect to perform well maybe the first time, but the only way that you will perform well in these events is to just play more. You need to practice, and I think the bit of advice that I give to people is just always, play against people that are better than you. Like if you have people at your leagues that are always doing well, or if you have access to like competitive players, you know, try to pick their brains on certain things. But yeah, definitely don't be afraid to like just jump all in and try to commit to it. There shouldn't be anything that people like, there shouldn't be a reason, I guess, why people don't want to play competitive. I think it's open for everybody, and anybody can eventually, have the chance to like do well in those tournaments. Yeah, don't be nervous. That's what someone just said. And if you want to actually do like pretty well, again, like reach out to me. I don't know. I'm pretty open as far as, I try to respond as much as I can on my Twitter. Maybe some people are different. There's plenty of people now that are offering coaching that are great players. That is one way to at least get a good baseline of like how you can perform, try to do well in these events. And then as you start to do them yourselves, you build up your own knowledge book, and you can constantly be like refining your skills and stuff like that.
Yeah. Rebecca, before we get to trivia, having watched 2 Lorcana challenges or commentated 2 Lorcana challenges, any thoughts on that?
On the advice that Kendall gave, I thought it was
Yeah.
great advice. I think that, I think what you said, Kendall, about like just jumping in, and not being too nervous. I mean, I think people will be nervous. I will say that for myself. You will be nervous, and that's
You'll
okay.
get over that eventually. Yeah, definitely you're gonna be
And-
nervous at first,
I've
but
never gotten over that.
the biggest thing is like
right.
if you don't try, like you're never gonna, get better.
Right.
So
Like,
the first
don't
thing
let the
is doing.
nerves stop you. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and being courageous to jump in and do it. And I think what else you said, Kendall, is the more events that you do, then I think the nerves will go down a little bit, or you'll learn how to, how to manage any nerves that you might have and everything. But not just practicing playing, but practicing going to competitive events, if that's something you're interested in, is something that's necessary.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to trivia?
Yeah, let's
All right.
do it.
Let's move on to trivia.
Trivia!
All right. Yeah.
I love the
All right,
intro.
Hello.
It's time for one of our recurring segments. It's quiz time with Carolyn. Carolyn is our resident Illumiteer quiz master. Not only do we run quizzes weekly on our live show here, but in our Discord, we are constantly running trivia games, whether it's trivia questions or guess that badly drawn Lorcana card, or
Those
20
are so fun.
questions. So for those of you who aren't familiar, feel free to participate, jump in our chat, etc. Carolyn, always good to see you each week.
Yes, always great to be here. This is one of the highlights of my week, and tonight was made even better by the surprise card reveal. Like, what a wild time.
I agree. I think as I look back, whenever years from now, as I look back at my Lorcana experience, seeing Rochelle's little message pop up saying, "Do you want to see the card?" is always going to resonate in my memory.
100%. It's like, what kind of a question is that? Who's going to say no?
Right? Like, how do you say yes, but like in a not like, how do you play it cool?
Desperate.
How do you play
We
it
don't
cool?
Right.
Right?
How do you play it cool? Yes.
Very cool about it.
We all need to have ennui, from Inside Out too. We need ennui to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we
Show
would
us
like to.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be cool if we could see,
Yeah.
maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but preferably today.
And I thought
Yeah.
I would throw in my 2 cents. I'm not a competitive player by any means. I am a very casual player, but I get very competitive, and so my number one piece of advice is something my dad has always told me, which is just show up. Everything else is a modification of that. Show up with your deck. Show up having slept a decent amount. Show up, having drank your water and gotten a snack. Show up
Snacks.
prepared. Show up positive. Show up, ready
With a bucket hat.
Show up with a bucket hat. Show up with a bracelet. Whatever makes you feel good in your shoes, in your skin, with your deck. Like, show up with that. you're gonna have fun whether you win or lose.
I agree, and that show up will fit on a bracelet. So
Sure
There you go.
your next line.
Show
All
up with
right.
coffee, R&B. Yes.
Yes,
Carolyn has showed up with trivia.
So the way we do this is our guests and sometimes us and sometimes the live chat, you all, we're all playing Carolyn's trivia, and we usually compete for somebody in the audience. So unfortunately, we're running low on playmat, so we're going to compete for an Illumiteers sticker or maybe 2. We'll send 2 or 3 even. And this week we're going to play for Zoa.
Giving away the card. You're
I
like,
know.
a sticker, 2 stickers, 3 stickers.
I don't know. Like we
all
have a
of
lot
our
of stickers.
All the stickers.
Zoa333, who's watching on Twitch, if you're still here, we're playing for you. If our guests win, we'll send you an Illumiteers sticker, showing some love to our Twitch viewers. And that's what we're playing with. So Zoa, if you're here, or if somebody knows Zoa, send them a message. We're playing for you. All right. So Carolyn, what's our theme this week?
Our theme this week is anniversaries. So summer is a pretty good time for lots of Disney films that are celebrating, their film birthday, so to speak. So as usual, we're going to start off fairly easy, where it may not be Disney knowledge you need. It might be just Lorcana, and then we'll ramp up to some harder things.
Okay.
So starting off, Disney recently celebrated Donald Duck's 90th birthday. How many Lorcana cards are named Donald Duck?
Ooh. 1.
And you can work together.
Okay, so we got this one. We've got a musketeer. We've got the sleepwalking one. You've got the perfect gentleman one. You've got. Is there more?
That's all I
Yeah.
can
Oh,
think
no,
of.
there's the legendary one.
The legendary.
Mad Donald. That's 5.
Well, that's in the upcoming set. The Pie Slinger one. That's not the one you're thinking of. Right?
Oh yeah,
I'm,
do we?
I'm not
I don't know.
including unreleased cards.
Okay, only
It's
release
only release
cards.
cards.
Only released
Okay.
cards, yes.
No, but there is another legendary Donald from a previous set. So I think
I am not good with the names. The only ones I can think of are the 2-drop 2/3 that's red, and then the bodyguard yellow one.
That's the
Musketeer.
Musketeer one.
Those are ones
Okay.
that
So-
we haven't named yet.
Angry hat thrower. Hint, it's an even number. So what we always say is for the
Gosh.
chat, like the chat can throw out answers. You all, who are playing, you can look at the chat or not look at the chat. Like it's totally up to you. We don't. So there's I don't know.
maybe 10 because chat says there's 10. I was gonna say 8, but
All right, are we going with chat, or you want to go with your gut, Rebecca?
I don't know. I kind of want to go. I'm gonna say 8 just to be different from chat, even though they're probably right. No, what am I gonna just say? What are we doing?
What's your answer, Kendall?
What's Kendall's?
9.
9?
Kendall's going
I mean, how many did you name? Sorry, I wasn't counting my fingers when you were
We got
naming
to
them.
Oh.
6.
We
You
got to
to
6,
and then did I name 2 that
and
you
then
hadn't
you
named?
said name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you named 2 more.
So that's 8.
So
Yeah.
8 from memory.
So then there's 2 more that
So-
you might not be thinking
I'll go
about.
with
Yeah,
10.
10. We'll trust chat.
Let's say
If-
10.
Oh, trust
If
me.
Yeah.
chat-
So
if-
if we came up with 8, they're
Yeah,
maybe thinking like 2 more that you couldn't think of.
So I think chat might be a little confused
Uh-oh.
because there are 10
Oh.
results that show up on the Disney Lorcana app,
Oh.
but 2 of
Well
those cards
then-
are the
So one
same
is the Pie
card
Slinger.
because one
Oh.
is a promo.
Oh.
So it's only 9.
Oh, see, Kendall was
Wait.
right. 9.
Okay,
There you
Kendall,
go.
Kendall
Okay,
wins.
okay,
I'm
Nice.
gonna say Kendall got that one and chat led y'all astray.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Okay, good. All right. So Kendall MVP of that question.
Again,
All right.
and this is cards named Donald Duck. We're not counting Dodge.
Right,
which does
right.
feature Donald on the art.
Okay. So out of 5, I forgot to set the rules here. There are 5 questions. We'll say you have to get 4 out of 5 right.
Wait, but do we have to get 4 out of 5 collectively, right?
Well, Kendall got that one.
Yeah,
That's
Kendall
right.
got that right. So that
Okay,
counts as
cool. So
1.
we
Yeah. It's
collectively all have to
collectively.
get 4 out
Yes.
of 5 right.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Or wait,
Question
is
number
it
two.
just Kendall or Rebecca playing?
What's Kendall and Rebecca playing? We can help.
Okay,
Yeah, you guys
you're
can help.
advising.
Yeah,
You're
we're
advising.
advising.
Right.
We're advising, 'cause we don't know the answers to these questions.
We clearly are really great advisors with our go with what the chat says.
Yeah.
Okay, Kendall and Rebecca have to get 4 out of 5 right. Got
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
They're a
Okay.
team.
Yep.
We're advising.
Yep.
Good to know.
Okay.
Get the rules
All
right,
right.
Liam.
Question number 2. The Rescuers just celebrated its 47-year anniversary.
Whoa.
What
Man.
famous historical figures are the albatrosses named after in this franchise?
The Wright brothers.
Yeah.
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 Well done.
That
One was not for me. I do love the Rex. Like that's actually my favorite Disney movies. Is the, like
Really?
the
Oh,
Rescue
really?
Down Under. Yeah, the Rescuers Down Under.
Rescuers Down Under
Yes.
is good.
Well done,
Yes.
Orville Wright.
Well, yes.
I was
More,
saying,
more from my neck of the woods.
I was saying earlier, I could watch on Rebecca's tweet. Actually, oddly
Yes.
enough, I could watch that opening like song to the Rescuers Down Under on loop for like hours, where it's going through the fields of like flowers, and
Mhm.
it's so intense. I love it.
One of my favorite openings. All right.
Also, the line, "Sorry, these are not Joanna's eggs."
Yes.
Probably one of the best lines from any Disney movie.
So
ever.
good.
All right. Mulan's 26th anniversary was last week. What name was Mulan hiding behind when she first met Shang as a
I know
soldier?
this
I'm sorry,
one.
did you say 26?
26.
Yeah, 26th
Oh.
anniversary.
Yeah. Feel all
Ping.
good. Yes,
Ping.
Ping. Very good, Rebecca.
Oh wow, we're cruising right along. 3 out of 5.
Woo woo.
Is it a Mushu
And did I
quote there?
switch them on you? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Number
Yeah,
4.
chat coming in with the answers. BF Doxy with the answers. Yeah, so chat had it as well. All right.
Yes.
Good job, chat.
Well done, chat. Number 4. Lilo and Stitch celebrated 22 years last week. On which Hawaiian island does it take place?
Ooh.
It's a while.
I have a
isn't
hint
it?
that I can give you.
Interesting. I don't think they ever say the name of it, right? Like you'd have to know from the map when they show the ship landing. Is that how you
Yeah.
know? Oh man,
Yeah.
this is hard.
Oh, wait, no, it is the Big Island then. It's Hawaii. I think it's the Big Island.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not. Then
I'll
it
give
must
you the
be
hint.
Oahu. It must be
So-
Oahu then.
Lilo says to Stitch when they're riding around on her tricycle, she says, "It's nice to live on an island with no large cities."
Oh,
Yeah.
are they on Kauai then?
They are. Very good.
Oh, okay.
Wait, final answer, Rebecca?
That was my final answer.
Great,
Yes.
we locked that one in.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Kendall, I'm with you. I would have had no
Oh,
idea.
I am bad at all kinds of trivia.
I feel like this is kind of Disney trivia, but it's more like geography.
I
Yeah.
think we're
No
gonna
idea.
have to play like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire situation because we're like
Right.
Rebecca.
Phone a
final
friend.
answer?
Finally.
Right.
But we did. I also love the phone a friend. But one of my favorite moments from trivia is when we had Jonty waiting in their.
One of
in the
my
back
favorite
room with
moments
that-
of Let's Talk Lorcana is having Jaunty waiting in the back room for
like,
trivia.
yeah, just
Hilarious.
bringing him in as a phone a friend.
All
have
right.
to replicate
And
this.
your final question.
Final question.
Today we celebrate the Lion King's 30th anniversary. What classic 80s teen film star voiced
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
voiced Simba as an adult?
Oh, as an adult.
As an adult. So
I know this one.
Okay, I know this one.
Simba.
Wait, okay.
Let's see if they get it. I know this one.
80s, not 90s.
80s
Oh, that's
teen
true.
Film star.
Oh, I don't think I know.
I know.
Wait, I'm
So
trying to think of like not
classic 80s
'cause-
movies.
Wait, can I well
Because I honestly, I think it's
ready?
not a good voice actor.
Matthew
Honestly.
Broderick.
Two
Bueller.
Matthew Broderick.
That's what Chet
Bueller.
is saying. Oh, Matt must be Matthew Broderick then. I don't think I realized that he was adult Simba. That's so funny. I was so focused on JTT, you know.
Yeah.
90s.
That movie came out when I was 12, so
Understand.
So gorge.
Oh, this is
I
gonna make
know.
it- that moment's gonna make a fantastic short. When we-
I will go with Matthew Broderick. Final answer.
All right.
Yes,
Is-
that is indeed Matthew Broderick. Well done. No,
I
my
love it.
my joke was going to be asking Bueller.
Yes.
Bueller?
Yes.
If anyone didn't get it.
Oh my goodness. Well, fun.
How did I
Funny.
not know that? That's so funny.
Yeah, the Lion King
Now you
cast is
can't
really
unhear it.
star
Well,
studded.
because he's so dwarfed in comparison to Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I mean,
Yes.
That's true.
Seriously.
It's because you stop watching the movie whenever Simba grows up, right? Because
Right.
You're like, yeah, JTT's out. I'm out.
JTT's out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Also, somebody else that I just learned was Zazu was Rowan Atkinson.
Yes, Mr. Bean.
I just learned that Mr. Bean was Zazu just like 2 days ago.
Well, that
And
one I
if
don't.
well.
I didn't know
we
Rowan
have
Atkinson
any-
spoke.
Yeah, R&B is
Any,
right.
fans of The West
Yeah.
Wing in the chat. Moira Kelly, who played Mandy in this first season, is the voice of adult Nala.
Oh.
That I did know. She is from The Cutting Edge. Which
Oh,
is
The Cutting
also
Edge.
from The Cutting
Great
Edge.
figure
movie.
skating movie
Yes,
from the
that's
90s.
an amazing movie. Yeah, R&B, I also feel attacked by the anniversary numbers. I think all of us elder millennials are like, what?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was reviewing the questions before dinner tonight with my husband. He's like my gauge to make sure that I am not making it too hard. And I said the 26th anniversary for Mulan, and he was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Yeah.
Not allowed. Not allowed.
Yeah, I remember talking to people about how awesome Mulan was in like wood shop class in like middle school, I think. Or something. Yeah. Anyway.
Make it stop.
Good trivia, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
always
well
a
done
pleasure.
for all of you too. You've won Zoa a set of stickers, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
Zoe's
Glad I,
Ooh.
I'm glad I got to help with one question.
Yes, you
That
did.
was critical. You were
You
critical
did.
to
You
that
were
question,
critical
Kendall.
of that.
Very critical.
To number one. Yeah, so for anybody, again, I'm going to post the link to the Discord in the chat. If you want to play along on our weekly games, we have a couple people running trivia. Carolyn is our resident trivia master, and you can play along here at our Discord server. Carolyn, don't salute you. We're going to keep you through the end because we're going to sign off here shortly. Oh man, I don't know. Aaron, do you have any closing thoughts? We're gonna.
Sign off catchphrase.
Yeah,
No.
okay, not that.
Aaron's like, it's
No.
been a long Monday.
I'm old, but not as old as Liam.
That's true.
So I always take solace in that.
There you go.
Cheers to all the millennials out there. So before we sign off, Kendall, how can people, so you mentioned people can follow you for coaching. How can people follow you, your Lorcana journey, what you're doing, and connect with you?
Right. So I have Facebook and Instagram. I don't really use those. I've been trying to basically grow my Twitter because that'll just centralize everything for me. I don't like using those other socials anyways. So yeah, I'm most active on Twitter. So that would be at actual no I'm not, because no I'm not was taken, I guess. Yeah, or Kendall Burdett. That's, yeah, either one. You can look me up there. I have a link to my team's website up there as well. They also have Twitter, so that is at Labyrinth TCG. So we have a website as far as you can get coaching through there if you like. For me, there's a lot of resources out there to seek other coaches too. So yes.
Oh, I have a final trivia question.
Oh, you have a final trivia question. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No. It just came to me. It was...
No, I will. Before you ask your trivia question, I'll wrap by saying you should follow Kendall and you should follow Team Labyrinth. If you're looking to keep up with competitive play and like what people are doing, deck techs, all that, follow these folks, follow Kendall. And Kendall also is a fantastic coach. So definitely something you should look out for. And Kendall, we hope to have you back on the show before too long.
Yeah, I'm definitely feel free. Like I said, I'm always happy to just talk Lorcana because this is the most fun I've had playing any other card game. So yeah, definitely down to join again.
Awesome. And plenty of Team Labyrinth in the chat here, including Aaron Rubin, who you should also follow. Aaron, what's your trivia question?
Oh, well, because it's in the spirit of anniversaries. Liam and I celebrate our wedding anniversary next week.
Oh, yay. Congrats.
What wedding anniversary do y'all think we're celebrating?
No.
Does he know, or is that for him, or is that for all of us?
I really hope he knows.
It's not for Liam.
Is his question or our question?
So
What
I think
wedding
I
anniversary?
think
Liam
Liam and I
celebrating
figured out
next week.
that
Liam.
I do know.
I think Liam and I figured out that we're about the same age.
It's about the It's about.
I'm gonna guess 8,
close.
10?
10.
Yeah.
Boo!
Wedding anniversary.
10.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a long time. Good trivia question.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
thought I was on theme.
Yeah. So this was a check. It was what wedding anniversary is this? I knew. I swear.
Liam, do you know what day our anniversary is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We put it 2 days after the 4th of July. So when I saw the fireworks, I would remember.
And
Would
you'd
jog my
remember.
memory.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway.
Anyway, moving on.
That's okay. Carolyn, you're our Lorcana trivia master. How can people follow you and what you're doing? And thank you for these amazing bracelets.
You're so
delightful.
welcome. I have to brag. I'm really proud of what I did with Liam's bracelet, so I have to talk about it for a second. It says "Keep pushing that envelope," and it's in emerald amethyst colors because he was desperate for somebody to keep innovating and make emerald amethyst good again. And also, that's a line from One Last Hope, which is the card that they revealed for set 4. So I thought it was pretty clever.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at LorcanaBell, Instagram at Lorcana.bell, and I'm also on Discord all the time, on the Illuminators Discord, running some trivia games. I just started a Name That Tune yesterday. That's our new Sunday game. I'm pretty stoked about that one. Fergus and I are sort of the dynamic duo running games. He's doing the badly drawn Lorcana cards and 20 questions. We've got one of our high scoring players in the chat, Chappie, out here. He's I think currently in the lead over the course of all the games. And then I also am the community admin for Love to Lore, which is the community for players of marginalized genders. So if that is something that interests you, check us out on Twitter or Instagram at love2lore, and the Discord invite is in our bio.
Yeah. Let me put this up here. Sorry, I can't
Love
top
to Lore.
Love to Lore.
What about you, Rebecca?
What about me?
Where can people follow you?
I am on Twitter a little bit at the Illuminary, but I mostly hang out a little bit. I'm mostly over on Instagram. I have a lot of fun over there at lorcana.illuminary, and I do fun stuff, reels and funny things, and
She's
I
hilarious.
I like to laugh and have fun, and it's positive, space for all players and newbies, Disney fans, all the fun stuff. So that's where I mostly you'll find me.
And commentating.
I was going to say live. I was going to say I mostly live there, but that's not where
I mean, content creation. We basically live on our laptops.
That's life.
That is true. We do live on our laptops. But don't sell yourself short. I mean, for those, everybody knows who Rebecca is, but if you're like the one person watching who doesn't, Rebecca does the best Lorcana reels and short form videos on Instagram
life goals
and educational casual content. So yeah, I mean, literally life goals. So definitely check that out. I do want to do one shout out real quick. I messaged Luca to do like an interview or whatever. And one of the first things he said was, can I shout out my team? And I said, absolutely, when we do an interview. So Ohana Lorcana, if you're a part of that team, shout out to that team. Luca's a member and fantastic Lorcana team. You can follow them on Twitter. But they're in the Atlanta area, I think.
I think they're from Florida.
Oh, from Florida?
Oh.
Okay. So close to.
Maybe they have some Atlanta players, but I think Luca's from Florida.
Okay, in that area. Okay, so
in
definitely
the area of Atlanta, which is
well, I mean, like
Florida is like South Georgia, so
that's
Okay.
true. Panhandle area. So shout out to them, and thanks everybody here. If you're watching and you're on Twitter or whatever platform you're watching on, feel free to hit like or subscribe if you like the show. We do this every Monday at 7:00. Try to bring the community together and expose everybody to new community members and people to follow. And we appreciate the support because this is takes a lot of work. So So Aaron, any closing thoughts from you before we say goodbye?
No, I got my trivia question and I'm good.
All right, everyone.